Good morning, welcome. How are we all doing? All right. Good to see you all. Welcome. I heard that the call with Edwina yesterday was a little bit emotional for some of you. And Edwina and I had a good conversation about it last night. And I just wanted to start by reminding you, and I know that you all know this already, but it's really useful to receive a reminder that this is a long game. You know, there are a lot of coaches online and people on the internet that will tell you that you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars overnight with the right formula. But they're telling you that to sell you a program. They're not telling you that because it's true. It takes time. It really does take time and patience. And honestly, the biggest gift that you can give your business is the gift of consistency. You just have to keep going and building an audience and getting your work out there. So the part that you guys have done up until now isn't meant to be bringing people into your business yet. We're not quite there yet. We're going to start with that today. What you've done up until now is you've created the foundation of what you're going to have available to sell. You've got your products in place and you've got your free opt-in in place. That's where we're at. Now we're at the stage of starting to get things out there. And I know that some of you have already started to do that, already have established businesses, you're already doing that, and that's great. But for those of you who started this program new, who didn't have an online offering, this is just the beginning of starting to reach out and attract your audience. So be patient, see it as a long game, and just know that it will take time, but it is absolutely achievable for every single one of you when we take that approach. And you know, it used to be, I've been working in the yoga industry for over 20 years. It used to be that we could come up with an idea, put something on sale, and very, very quickly it would sell and job done. These days, it doesn't work like that. It's a very, very saturated market. There are so many different offerings. It takes time and energy and patience to cultivate your audience and to position yourself in the market. Having a good idea and putting it out there isn't enough. And I'm saying that, you know, in all positive, like with all positivity, like I've built my business up to be 99% online and it's successful and I make an income and I support my family. It didn't happen overnight. But I did start from scratch 4 years ago in the online space. And now, you know, it's built up to that place. So it's totally possible, but having a good idea and popping a post up on Instagram won't be enough. Another thing I want to say, because I know a couple of you have got offerings out at the moment. I don't know if Chloe is on this call, but I know your retreat is coming up and I don't think she's here. Hopefully she'll listen to the replay. And a couple of you've got other things coming up that have deadlines. I've said this to you before, but I'm just going to repeat it. I am seeing so many times now people enrolling at the last minute. You probably just saw I did a launch for Ayurveda Goddess last week. I got 15 people in for the program, which I'm happy about. My goal was 10. I did a fairly soft launch. It wasn't, it was mostly just email marketing. So I got 15. I was very happy with that. But 14 out of those 15 booked in the last 24 hours of a week-long marketing campaign. So I was freaking out. By day 6, let me tell you, when I had one booking, I was already thinking, okay, I'm going to have to either cancel it or, you know, just serve this one woman and do all of the live sessions just as one-to-ones, which I'm actually happy to do and I would have done. Last 24 hours, 14 people jumped in. So a big mistake I'm seeing people make in the online space at the moment is canceling something a week before it happens, 2 days before it happens, because they think it hasn't sold. They think it's not going to happen. You got to go to the finish line. Most of you were me and Edwina call them last minute Sallies. Most of you were last minute Sallies coming in at the last minute. You know, we had a handful and then suddenly we had a full cohort. So I don't know what the psychology is of that. I don't know what the story is behind that, but I want you to know that that's very much part of what's happening in the online space right now. And you've got to finish the race. Don't give up at the last part. Another thing that's really important at the moment, and again, I'm repeating myself, but I want you guys, a lot of what we sell is,
I don't know if it's me, but your sound is not going.
Yeah.
To what people really need. And
Okay.
sound. Okay, one moment. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, we're back?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, I'm sorry.
Maybe jump off and jump back on. I don't know if that.
Okay.
Yeah, you're all muffled. I don't know if you can hear me, but.
All right, let me see if I can fix my internet connection. Sorry, everyone. Okay, how's that? Can you hear me now?
Still shaky, and even your video is quite pixelated than normal.
Yeah, distorted, very distorted.
I feel like you might need to either jump out or turn your video off.
Okay, let me jump off and come back on. All right, can everyone hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, keep talking.
Yeah, better?
Keep talking.
Okay, we'll see how we go. So extended payment plans are super important because people just don't have the financial means to outlay much in advance. And we can talk about that a bit more later on, but this all comes under the umbrella of pricing and creation of offerings, which I want to move on from that now, and I want to move into marketing. So I just wanted to add those last two pieces so that I've shared that with you. But really our focus for the next couple of weeks is going to be on marketing and getting your work out there. So the first piece around that, can I just get a thumbs up that you can all hear me okay? Great. Okay, brilliant. So the first piece around that is social media, which I know so many of you have been working on really hard with Edwina, and I've seen some amazing, beautiful results in the work that you're all doing. The next step is translating social media followings into email, and email marketing is where it's at. Like it will be a rare day, even with an established business, that you will get a sale or multiple sales through social media. People do not buy off Instagram or Facebook anymore. They might follow an ad or a good social post and opt in for a freebie. That definitely still happens. So you can capture people through a freebie, but direct selling through social media is a tough gig, and I don't recommend it as your first option. What you really want to be getting from social media, what the currency is email addresses. And that's where you're going to get the ability to then market and sell. And every other marketing avenue that you have available to you, rather than thinking about direct selling, think about gathering email addresses. So for example, Edwina and I in a couple of weeks are going to be doing a day at there's a yoga festival happening in Sydney in the CBD in a hotel. And we're going to be doing a promotional day for Bhakti Business and Shakti Creative. Our only objective for that whole day is to gather email addresses of prospective yoga teachers who are interested in launching a business. We're not selling anything, and we're paying to be there. So the day will cost us money, but it's a lead magnet. We will offer them an opt-in, which we haven't decided what it's going to be yet, but we'll figure something out. And they will give us their email addresses, and then from there, we welcome them into our community. We sell. If you go straight for sales from Instagram, people immediately know it's a sell and they just switch off. So what we want to be adding to Instagram is value. And how do we add value? Through storytelling, through beauty, like beautiful photographs, really captivating and compelling, lifestyle kind of vibes, and through free offerings, something that people want that doesn't cost anything. And then it's your email marketing that converts those people into prospective clients. So in the next week or so, I've got 2 pieces of homework for you today. I would love for you to write a welcome sequence. So what that means is when someone's come into your world via email, you've captured their email address, you are going to send them a series of emails that isn't directly selling anything to them, but rather just warming them up to your world so they can get to know you. You can include some light sales, like, some not too pushy mentions of the things that you have available. But again, the objective isn't selling. The objective is get to know me. Minimum would be 3 emails. And honestly, I've seen welcome sequences. I mean, Rachel Rogers, who wrote We Should All Be Millionaires, her welcome sequence is 22 emails. So the sky's the limit. I don't recommend a 22 email series, but mine's 5. I have 5 emails in my welcome series. So the first email in that welcome series is a very general, this is who I am, because maybe they've opted in through, something they very quickly saw on Instagram. They don't really know anything about you. So, this is where I live, this is who I am, this is my background, sort of like your elevator pitch combined with your about page on your website. And you can definitely send people to your website for this. Send them to your about page so they can get to know you. Something about the values of your business too. Like, what is it that you stand for? What do you believe in? What do you want to do with your work in the world? Don't know.
Gone quiet, Katie. I'm not sure I can't hear you.
Katie, are you there?
It seems like Trudy has become the host now. We can all see and hear her instead.
That's
Oh.
fine. I'm sure she'll
Okay.
jump back on.
Who's going to take over?
Yeah.
Have you
Tell me about the call yesterday. What? Because I missed what happened.
Oh, it was all very emotional. It
Oh.
was- yeah.
God, probably good I wasn't there because I haven't done my free opt-in and I haven't done my landing page. So I'm way behind on everything.
Neither have I. Because I've been sick all this week, so everything's just fallen behind. It's been such a shit show. anyway,
I will
so
do it. I'm definitely going to do it. It's just, yeah, I'm in the middle of changing jobs and yeah, it's a lot going on.
exactly. Have you all printed this thing out? Oh, hold on. How do I show that?
You have to take off your
What do I have to do?
background, but
Oh, how do I do
is that
that?
the one from today? Is there a workbook?
I don't know. I got this out of the Bhakti business. It's marketing a new offering month by month plan.
Oh, lovely.
That
Okay.
was in the Bhakti thing.
She is.
I
She's
remember what it
back.
Oh, she's
I'm
back.
back. I'm back. Sorry. I think this will be better now. I just switched over to another internet. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Sorry. Okay, so email marketing, welcome sequence, minimum of 3 emails. Mine is 5. You know, you can go up to a lot more. I probably wouldn't go more than 5. I think that's really excessive. But the first one is an intro, just get to know me, kind of, you know, a little bit of description about who you are and what you do and what the values of your business are, and directing them perhaps to your website. Second one, so first one is focused on you as a human being. Second one is your offerings and your business, and perhaps also the origin story of your business. Like, why did you start it? What are you passionate about? Some points of difference. What is it that you do that's specifically different? And it's really, really important in these welcome emails that you tell your stories. Do not get AI to write these. Like, that's a huge mistake. I'm not saying AI can't write some stuff for you later on, or you can use AI to write bits of things. But for this welcome sequence, you really need it to be personal. It can't just be generic. You don't want to talk in cliches and sort of industry talk. It needs to be you telling your stories. And then the third one is a little bit more of a call to action. You could ask them if they've engaged with the free opt-in. So if maybe there was an opt-in that they, you know, like they signed up for a meditation or they signed up for a guided class or something, ask them if they've done it. You could ask them if they're interested in working with you and say something like, you know, hit reply if you've got a question for me. And then you could tell them about some of your offerings. And depending on which system you're using, most email software will have the capacity for that 3 email series to be triggered when someone opts in. So you don't have to send it manually. When they've signed into your opt-in, then an email sequence gets triggered and they can receive it. Shay.
Thank you. In Kajabi, is it possible to segment? So if someone signs up for, say, 2 different offerings, but you've got a roughly the same welcome sequence for each, if they've already received the offering, the email sequence for one, they don't get the other?
Yes. So in Kajabi, and to be fair, most other email softwares, they won't repeat sending an email sequence to the same person. So Kajabi's smart enough that it knows if it's been triggered, even for another reason from another opt-in, it won't send it again, ever. So that's one good thing. And most email softwares are that intelligent. But also, you can have different sequences triggered by different things. So you can tag people. For example, at the moment, I'm collecting wait list for Bhakti Club because Bhakti Club isn't open at the moment. So I'm just getting people to pop their names on a form. They get tagged as interested in Bhakti Club. And then if I wanted to, I could send a specific email sequence to them.
Yeah, great. And I notice your emails are quite plain. There might be like a pretty header, but then it's plain text. Is that for deliverability?
It's for a few reasons. Funnily enough, people tend to engage more with simple emails. A lot of research shows this. So when you send an email that looks like a newsletter and it looks pretty or sort of like the kind of thing that, like, let's say Kmart would send you, you know, with different boxes and colors and sort of like a newsletter type of vibe, people switch off because they think it's marketing, which it usually is. Whereas when you receive an email from your friend, it's always just plain text, you know. A lot of people will include things like little GIFs or funny memes. I don't really do that in my business. My business is a little bit more sort of serious / professional. So I'm not a giffer. But there's no reason why you can't. And the odd thing like that can be really nice. And you can also include the odd picture, like you might want to include a picture of yourself, for example, in your welcome one. The other nice thing about email marketing is you can be a bit more personal. You can share things that you wouldn't share on social media. Like, you know, like I might, for example, talk about my recent breakup or something that's happening with my kids, or, you know, where I live or something like that, that I wouldn't share on social. So it's a little bit more of a private space. And you can also assume people on your email list are interested in you. So, you know, it's sort of like they've signed up to find out about you. So sharing is perfectly valid. You know, it's like they've signed up for that. The other thing I'll say about email lists is you will get unsubscribes. It's part of the territory. The more emails you send, the more unsubscribe. Okay, this is a golden nugget. Pause and absorb this. Like, please remember this. The more emails you send, the more sales you will get, and the more unsubscribes you will get. Okay, it's just, that's how it works. So there's a sweet spot. You don't want to send so many that it becomes spammy and people just completely stop opening them, and you know, you get huge numbers of unsubscribe. On the other hand, and this is the mistake most people make, you don't want to send so few that people don't open them, don't see them, forget about them, and aren't called to action. So for me, if I'm doing a launch campaign, 5 to 6 emails is my sweet spot. And one of the most important emails that you can send in terms of driving sales and revenue is the 2-hour doors are closing reminder. Remind people 2 hours before the offer ends that it's about to end, and you'll get that flurry of sales. If you're working, so a welcome sequence is general and open-ended and should be applicable, you know, in a general time sense. So you don't want it to be too time specific. But a launch sequence, you really want to have a call to action with a deadline. And that's another thing that will drive sales. If you don't have a deadline, it's very, very difficult to get bums on seats because people have no call to action. So sometimes a deadline is just the thing is starting. Like if you're running a retreat, the deadline is going to be the retreat is on Saturday, you know, or the course starts on Wednesday or whatever. But sometimes you have to actually make a deadline. You have to create a deadline, and that will drive sales. And it could be a deadline on a special offer like a discount. So Tracy's asking me to summarize. So first one, so this is your welcome sequence. First one is introducing yourself. Second one is introducing your business values and perhaps some of your offerings, but with a story about why you created them, not just this is what I have to sell you. And then third one can be a more gentle call to action around, you know, beginning to start the sales pathway. Shay.
Had to unmute myself again. Would you put a deadline on a free offering if it was a live webinar? So they have to sign up by sort of 2 hours before it starts, or
For the webinar?
yeah, even if it's a free opt-in, yeah.
No, okay, so no. So what you
No.
want to do that's a good question. What you want to do for a webinar or a live event is you want to first of all drive people to come.
Yeah.
That's all you care about, that they show up. Then you send the next sequence, which is the follow-on, which is whatever you're selling.
Thank you.
Yeah. When I first started in the online space, for quite a long time, I had a story running in my head, which is a bit of an ego-ish kind of story, that if I'd offered people something for free, I then didn't really have to sell it to them. It's like, lucky them, I'm giving them this free thing, you know, that half their luck, they should turn up to the webinar type of thing. And so I never drove, I never sent emails or sort of marketing around, please come to the thing you signed up for. And then I had a very good coach, Tarzan K, who is a brilliant email copywriter. And she said to me, you're just losing half your people because you're not reminding them to come, and you're not in, you know, getting them to feel excited about coming. So for example, I ran an introduction to Ayurveda webinar a couple of weeks ago, which was a lead into my Ayurveda Goddess sale. And I sent 4 emails to the people who'd opted into that to get them to show up live and to tell them why the webinar was going to be really great, even though it was free. So you've got to drive engagement, and you even have to sell your free things. And a beautiful way to think about that is there's 2 types of currency. So one currency is that people are paying you money, right? That's one currency. A second currency, which for many people is as valuable as money these days, is their time. So if you're asking them to show up for something, it's not free. They're investing their time. So we've got to still sell in order to get people to be willing to commit their time and or money. Anna's asking what's 4 and 5 if we're doing a 5-part welcome series. My suggestion would be it's the same, but you're going to break it down into more components. So for example, in email number 3, you might tell the story about one of your particular offerings, like let's say, Anna, you know, why you enjoy running meditation in person. I mean, I'm making this up, but you know, something like that. And then the next one, you might talk about your own personal meditation practice and your teacher or something like that. And then the next one, you might talk about why you love working in the online space. So it's the same thing. It's the narratives around you, your business and your offerings, the stories behind them. But you've got a bit more spaciousness to break it down. Don't be tempted to make your emails too long. People will zone out and they won't read them. So 400 words is like a maximum, I would say. If you're going over 400 words, you've gone over. Also, limit the number of links. You really only want 2 different links per email. Definitely not 10 links. And those of you who are sending out emails that list all the things that you do, you're just diluting. I can see Radha smiling. There's a couple of others who are guilty of this too. You're just diluting people's focus. So help them to say yes by making it 1 or 2 things. And then you can send another email or do a campaign on 1 or 2 things at another time, 1 or 2 other things. So we've gone into email marketing a little bit, and I do want you to work on your welcome sequence for homework, but I want to step back from the free opt-in and the gathering of the email addresses. And I want to talk about ways that we drive traffic to a free opt-in. Okay, because this is the first step, ways that we drive traffic to a free opt-in. What I want you to do is think about, and there's a list that Leonie Dawson created that I've put in your portal, which you can look at, that's got so many ideas. But I want you to think about, where are your people hanging out? Where are the people that you want to attract spending time? So let's say you're running an in-person event, like a retreat or a you know, regular yoga class that happens in person. Your community is your local community. There's no point getting on the internet and advertising to the whole of Australia, because they're not going to come to the yoga class at your little town hall in your local area. So you want to be going to your local library, your local health food shop, your local GP, your local community centre, and promoting through those places. And actually, it's beautiful because it's old school marketing. Local business is all old school marketing. Flyers, posters, these things work really well these days because no one does them anymore. Beautiful little postcards. So effective for local stuff. Especially because remember the days when you used to go into a coffee shop and there'd be, or like even the supermarket, if we go back far enough, there'd be a bulletin board and there'd be all these little notices of things that were happening, and or you'd pick up little flyers or postcards. No one does that anymore because everyone thinks the internet's the only place to advertise. But postcards and the cute little business cards, especially if they look pretty, the kind of thing someone might put on their fridge, brilliant marketing for local business. And then for local, you want to be thinking about collaborations. There was a woman in the last business program, yoga teacher, who did a collaboration with her local hairdresser. And they did I forget what the offer was now, but something like, you know, haircut and yoga class bundle. And it went so well. It was so successful. So collaborations with local businesses if you're in a local area and promoting something in person. On the other hand, if you are running something online, you have a catchment of billions, potentially millions at the very least. So you've got to get a little bit narrower in terms of thinking about where your people are hanging out. A really good place to start with that is Facebook groups. So let's say your target audience is people who are interested in yoga. Join a bunch of Facebook groups for people that are interested in yoga, and then tell them about your free opt-in. Post it in there. Let them know that they can sign up for it. Likewise on Instagram, think about where are people spending time, who are they following, what are they looking at that is in the same ballpark as what you're offering, and start doing cross promotion. So you might, for example, do like a little giveaway or a little promotion where you engage with someone else's audience and they engage with yours. I do things like that all the time, like a little bundle of offerings or a bundle of promotions. So the first stage around this, where are we going to get people from, is make a list of where are they hanging out. And when I say hanging out, I mean also in the virtual spaces too. Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are there particular websites they're looking at? I'll give you another example. Last year when I launched Bhakti Business, I was thinking about, okay, it's yoga teachers. I want yoga teachers. Where are yoga teachers spending time? Where are they hanging out? Of course, they're all members of Yoga Australia, which is the governing body for yoga in Australia. So I approached Yoga Australia and I said, how about we run a summit together for business and yoga teachers? And Yoga Australia were like, yes, that's a great idea. Yoga teachers need all the help they can get with business. I'm well positioned to offer it. And so we put this summit together. It was brilliant. It was a great lead magnet for me for the launch of Bhakti Business. And it also served a lot of yoga teachers. So it's thinking, what you don't want to do is one by one find your clients on Instagram or Facebook, because you will be there forever. You want to think, where are they as a group? Who are they? And then where are they as a group? So, like for Kylie, it's going to be people, I'm just giving some ideas. It's people who are interested in, like tea, and want to connect in community. So she's going to think about, okay, where are those people hanging out? Where are they set? What communities are they already members of? Are there some spiritual communities that might be interested in having a tea tasting ceremony or running a tea tasting program? When I was marketing Trust Yourself, my most recent book, I noticed online that there was a woman who runs a book club that had a huge following. And each month they would do a different personal development book. So I wrote to her and I said, would you like to feature my book? She hasn't gotten back to me yet. Well, she did get back to me. She said, maybe. So we're in conversation. Who knows whether it'll come together or not. But if it does, that's my book suddenly exposed to a very big audience of people that read personal development books. Do you see the way that I'm thinking laterally here? It's like, where are they already? You want to work with stressed out corporate people. Where do stressed out corporate people hang out? You want to work with new mums that need extra support. Where are they? What are the groups they're already in? And then how can you collaborate and tap in? And just like you're going to receive unsubscribes for your emails that you send out, you're going to receive rejections. You're going to have a great idea and you're going to think, this is brilliant. I'm going to reach out to so-and-so and they're going to love it and it's going to be amazing. And so-and-so is going to say no. And that's okay. We just have to have thick skins and we have to just keep asking. I was joking with a friend of mine, Amy Landry. Some of you might know her. She just ran the yoga summit. I think it was called Yoga Study Summit. I was in it. It was a beautiful summit. Do some of you know Amy Landry? She's a brilliant yoga teacher. Her social media is really great. She's pretty well known. Anyway, she's just written a book proposal and she submitted it to a publisher, and the publishers came back and they were really interested. And then they went back and forth a bit. And at the end they said no. And she was really disappointed, and she was expressing this to me. And I told her the story of how I got my publisher. I knew I wanted a firm press to publish Trust Life, Trust Yourself. Like I was stalkerishly fixated on them publishing that book. And two of my friends, dear friends of mine, Jordana Levin and Rachel Coops, have both been published by a firm. And I'm not going to lie, I was like, no, jealous isn't the right word, but I was like, I want in on that. Like, I know they're a great publisher, and I'm not taking no for an answer. And I pitched to Kelly Doust, who's the commissioning editor there, and it was an instant no. She just came back with, we're not running yoga titles. The list is full, no. And I was like, no, not accepting the no. Went back with okay, what if we tweaked it this way? What if we tweaked it that way? What if it wasn't a yoga book? What if it was? And she was like, maybe, okay, I'm willing to have the conversation. So already I've gone from a no to a maybe, right? And then back and forth, back and forth. The whole process took about 6 months. And in the end, I got it over the line with them. And, you know, I mean, there's a point at which you obviously, a no is a no. I'm not saying become a weirdo. And this does not apply in relationships either. I'm not suggesting that you become a stalker. But in business, in your work, if you've got a clear vision for something, sometimes it's just a case of being really persistent, of not giving up, of continuously trying to get someone to see the vision that you have for something. And a lukewarm maybe can easily become a yes if you are willing to work hard enough for it. I've got another example, actually. I pitched a while ago to have some Ayurveda cards created, and that was a whole journey. I got so many rejections, like 30, 40 rejections from different publishing houses all over the world. And I was like, I'm determined, I'm going to keep going. And finally, I started conversation with a publisher based in Portugal, so random, but they print in English language, back and forth. And in the end, I got a deal, and it's all going through. And the guy said to me at the end, one of the reasons I said yes to you in the end was because you just didn't give up. He was like, I can see that you're really passionate about this project working because you were so persistent. So this is a really important part of the whole puzzle. It's like you can make things happen if you have that approach of clarity and persistence. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people making in business overall, but particularly in the online space, is just giving up too easily and giving up too quickly. It's a long game, and you've got to be a little bit persistent. And, you know, you're not necessarily going to get the big breakthroughs straight away, but every little breakthrough that you have, every part of your community that you build is a stepping stone to the next thing. So 2 pieces of homework for this week. First of all, writing a welcome sequence and getting it set up so that new people coming into your world are being well introduced to who you are, and they're warm, ready for when you start a marketing campaign. It's not coming out of nowhere. Second, lists of where are your people hanging out. Start brainstorming. Where are they already? And how can I get access to that email list? You know, how can I get Yoga Australia or my local retreat center or my local hairdresser or my corporate connection to be emailing on my behalf something that I'm offering, ideally my free opt-in? How can I get people to be sending that out for me to their existing lists rather than one by one building the list out of nowhere? Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah, beautiful. All right, let me open up for questions in the last 20 minutes. Anything you want to ask me?
Katie, can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
So I had the market, it was a week and a half ago, and the tea, you know, I got exposed to a lot of people in my local community because it's like literally just there.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty new building. There's lots of people there. So they're high rises and the market was underneath. There is a wellness space. And the reason that I knew that the market was it was happening was because I jumped on their website to check out the signage that said like wellness space or something there. was like, oh, what's happening? I found that they do rooftop yoga. Nobody's facilitating it at the moment. So I had all my banners and everything set up, and people were coming to me, the locals at the market, saying, oh, you're going into the wellness space. You're the one going. And I kept saying to them, I would love for my answer to be yes, because the wellness space is the reason that I'm here. And so I feel like lots of feedback, given it opened up more than just my tea, because that's my background in the spa and wellness space, and it's multidimensional. So it's really ideal. But I want to provide some feedback to the organisers, because I found out that the architect and designer is the man that handpicks every business that goes in there. And I'm not too sure what the prospects are, but like you just said, like this tenacity and this ability to not give up, to keep pursuing something, and to also bridge the gap between the monthly markets, but to have the conversation about who I am and my background and how that space, you know, in answering the locals' requests, because they were really like, this is amazing, like from breathwork, yoga. So I'd love to hear anything that you might have on that.
Yeah. Well, first thing I'd say is, in a situation like that, I wouldn't open it with saying to anyone, I'd love to give you feedback, because often when people hear I'd love to give you feedback, they just immediately assume they're going to get criticized.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, people become
I'd
a bit
probably say
defensive,
that because there's an email in my inbox from them, from
asking for feedback.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of a separate, yeah.
Yeah, and that'll just go to some admin person somewhere that'll be like filing them away and collating them. So what I would do in that situation is I would try to get in front of that architect designer guy. He's your man, because if you get a green light from him, everything below that will trickle down. When I was trying to get the pitch for the cards, and I do this a lot, instead of emailing the the standard generic email or going through the application process, you want to try to circumnavigate those things. It's a bit cheeky, but I'm just giving you the honest advice of what I actually do, and just go straight to the person that is going to get it at the end if you get through the filters. So I mean, I always do this. As I'm talking, I'm thinking of all the different examples of it. Sort of, it is a bit egotistical, because it's kind of like you think you're special, but why not think you're special? And I know it works with me. You know, if people directly email me and ask for something, it's much more likely to be a yes than if they come through my assistant or come through a form on my website. Like, it's the way it works. So yeah, when I was pitching the cards, I did a bit of research on the internet, and I got the direct email for the director of the publishing house. And I emailed him, as well as, you know, I said to him, I've done the process on the online form. Like, it's not like I'm being lazy and I'm just trying to sort of avoid doing what you've asked me to do, but I'm also emailing you personally to let you know how passionate I am, etc., etc. If he's local, this guy, I would honestly just try to get an email or a phone number for him and just say, have you got time to have a coffee? I've got some ideas about the wellness space. Could you sit down and give me 10 minutes of your time?
Yeah, awesome.
A good phrase to use, a good way to ask for that is, would you be willing to give me 10 minutes of your time? Because what it does is it really shows someone that you value their time, but it also seeks a direct audience. I would go straight to him. And then you're so passionate about what you do and you're so great at articulating it, I'm sure there would be a beautiful opportunity there for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Danny.
Good morning. Just quickly, I have set up an automated email for people who subscribe, but I've only done 2 emails. And the reason being, and I'm just going to clarify with you that I should add another, is that I don't really have a lot that I'm offering right now. So I have my free opt-in and I run a monthly moon circle, but I don't have my signature offering up and running yet.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about doing some, like, a new moon circle as well, but I don't have a venue for that. So I'm thinking about doing that online as like a Zoom type situation so that I have one a month in person and one online.
Yeah.
I'm just worried if I send too many emails, I don't have much to offer.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just worried about that.
You know what? I'm going to reframe that for you and say the more emails you can send that don't sell anything, the better.
Okay.
Actually, that's the truth. I wish I could send more emails that weren't selling anything, because I know that people love them, and it's a relief to people to not feel like they're being sold to. So if you can add value to your emails, like maybe you can share a free thing, that's brilliant. But you could also just tell a nice story, you know, or share some teachings, some spiritual teachings, you know. Radha might send an email that talks about why silent retreats are so powerful. Why is silence such a powerful practice? And that's it. That's the email. Danny, you could write about why the moon. Why do we follow the moon? Why is new moon different to full moon? And what are the energetic differences? That's the purpose of the email. It's educational. The best emails that I read and actually think, okay, this is another good thing to do. Think about the emails you get that you always open. What do they contain? Usually good stories or education that you're interested in.
Do you know what email I love?
Or they're funny. They might be funny. Funny is good. If you're funny, funny is great. I'm not funny. I mean, I can be funny, but my emails aren't funny. But if you can do humor, that's brilliant.
Yeah. I also a little bit of feedback, like for yourself and personally for me, I love your monthly emails about what you love and what you're reading, and like that's one of my favorite emails that comes into my inbox every month.
Thank you.
So I need to look at, you know, sharing some of the things that are going on in my life and things that I'm enjoying right now.
Yeah, and those emails that I do every month get my highest open rates.
Yes.
And I try really hard not to sell in them. I don't always succeed, but they're really meant to just be sharing, not selling. Let's talk briefly about open rates. So industry standard, just so you know, a good open rate is anything, a very good open rate is anything above 30%. Anything below 20%, you need to up your game in terms of your content. So average is 25%, you know, that's sort of industry standard. 30% and up is really good. And then click-through rate, anything between 2 and 5% is good. So can you see how we need to drive numbers? If I've got 1,000 people on my database, but only 300 of them open the email, and then only 30 of them click on the link, I'm diminishing my opportunity for sales with every, you know, every number in that chain. And that's why I need to send lots of emails, because the 3% that open the first email will be different to the 3% that open the second email. People are busy, they forget, they mean to sign up and they forget. And this is why all the last minute Sallies are jumping in at the last minute, because they meant to do it and they didn't. Does that answer your question, Danny? Yeah, beautiful. I'll just go to the chat. Oh yeah, Megan, word count. I think I did just speak about it, but I think 400 words is the maximum for an email. Really, people will just phase out. And I know if you're a words person like I am, it's so much easier to write more, but yeah, and thank you for your compliment about my sense of humor. Another thing about emails is your PS is the most read part of your email. So whatever nugget you want to give that's really important, that actually goes in your PS. People skim read the first sentence and they scroll down and they skim read the PS. I don't know why, but lots of psychology and study shows that to be true. And you probably noticed it in your own behavior. So as you're writing your welcome sequence and as you're thinking about where your people are hanging out, I also want you to notice what emails do you read and what emails do you open and what are the qualities of those emails? Because more than likely your ideal customers are quite similar to you. And don't be afraid to be a person. You don't need to be a big brand. You don't need to speak in the third person. You can just be you, you know. It's really beautiful to have that direct connection with your clients and your students. Any other questions or anyone wants some support or feedback on anything specific?
Hi, Katie. So, you know that we've had that conversation a lot about email marketing. That's where I'm trying to get a bit better at. And I did it this month of trialing sending more than one email a month. And in one of the emails, I actually asked people with a little quiz, a little questionnaire as to what they want in the content of the newsletters. Do you think that's a good idea? Like, I felt like that's a good way for me to introduce to them, hey, I'm going to be sending out more
Yes,
newsletters.
I think
And
it's
you
a
get the
beautiful
chance
idea.
to see.
It's a great
Yeah.
idea. Yes. And you can also do something similar on your Instagram, and that will drive engagement.
Yeah.
And if you want to add a sweetener, you can offer people a little something as a giveaway if they enter, if they fill in the survey. So you might say, I'm going to, you'll go in the prize to win, in the draw to win a one-on-one session with me or a book or whatever it might be. I'll pick a winner. So just incentivizes people to participate. But yes, I think it's a really good idea. And you might be quite surprised by the results.
Yeah. Yeah, I was already surprised by how many people filled it out. And some people commented that it's that they really like the way I market because it's very personal and it actually engages people and asks them for their opinion.
Yeah. Beautiful. You're on
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
And you're right, it does open the door to be sending more. So that's good. But you don't need to worry too much about that. People don't notice if you send, people will notice if you spam them and you send a lot. People will notice if you completely disappear, but they won't notice if a week's gone by or 2 weeks have gone by or a month or, because they're just busy getting on with their lives. It's like, I always think it's a bit funny when people do these big announcements on social media, like, oh, I'm going off social media for 2 weeks. You won't see me. I'm going on a holiday. It's like, I'm not sure that anyone really cares that much, to be honest. We'll see you when you get back. Megan, did you want to say something? No. Anyone else? Questions, comments? Sean? Are you trying to unmute yourself?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh,
I just
there's
wanted
two
to.
of you. Okay.
Oh, I know there's two of me. I'm on laptop and phone. I know,
Okay.
doubling up. But I'm just asking, so double checking that if you are teaching in person, you canvass sort of local cafes and places where your ideal customers hang out, right?
Yes.
So that form of marketing is not dead. The little
I think that form of
postcards.
marketing, honestly, I think it's more effective than it has ever been. I really do, because no one's doing it anymore. It's like flyers in the door. Remember when you used to go to your mailbox and there'd be like 100 flyers in there, and now there's hardly any? I still look at those flyers. They're very effective because people aren't doing them anymore, especially if it's pretty, especially if it's something you would keep.
Good. And how about getting over the obstacles of certain owners, competitors? There might be a local gym next to it as well.
Yeah.
Any tips and the way you introduce yourself to that local business?
Yeah.
I haven't done it before.
I don't get involved in what everyone else is doing because my life is too busy and full to think about that. So that's the attitude I would have around that. And it would just be, hi, I'm Chandel. I teach yoga down the road. I've got these flyers. Would you, do you mind if I put this poster up? Do you mind if I put these flyers up? Can I leave these cards out? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And any
collaborations with
tips on
local businesses that do similar things as well. Like you could think about, is there a place that sells merchandise, like a shop or somewhere like that sells the types of things that you are like? So for example, if there was a local shop, like a crystal shop or a new agey bookshop or something like that, do they want to have like a yoga evening or a yoga experience or something like that? Like what is around in your local area that is serving the same demographic as you that you could then find a way to segue in with? A really successful one I did on social media a few years ago was with Orchard Street. You know, Orchard Street, that make the beautiful beautiful everything. Like, they have their elixir bars and they have naturopathic products and what have you. I did a social media collaboration with them where they did like a day in the life thing, which I thought was quite hilarious, because a day in my life, there's nothing like romantic and sexy about that. It's mostly about getting kids to school and making lots of sandwiches. But anyway, whatever. We did a day in the life, and they sent a photographer and they made really beautiful photos and they made my life look very glamorous. And that was so great for me. I got so many followers from that. And it was obviously great for them because there's a lot of product placement. And I do love and use Orchard Street products. So it was, you know, fantastic. It was a great collaboration for both of us. So yeah, it can work in the virtual space and it can work in the in-person space. Both are possible.
Where would you get your flyers and things printed?
Vistaprint is what I use. It's really cheap and it's super easy. Vistaprint. Yeah, so Susie's saying maybe my flyers should be prettier. You know what I like to do with postcards and flyers? Do something really plain and pretty on the front that maybe doesn't even have any branding, just a nice picture, and then all the details on the back. Because the picture is sort of like what you do with Instagram with a post. Beautiful picture on your post, and then the wording is in the words. You don't want the post to look like an ad. Similarly with a postcard or a business card or something like that, make it pretty, and then on the back is all the information. People are more likely to pick it up. Megan, did you have something you wanted to share? We lost you for a sec.
Yep, I'm here. Hi.
Did you want to say something?
I did two things, very quick ones. I've just been to yoga and I looked at their community notice board, and there was someone who'd pinned up bookmarks, which I love a bookmark.
Yes.
I love a bookmark. So like, if you did a bookmark and, like you said, just have one side of it as a beautiful image that they could pop on their vision board or their fridge,
Yeah.
but also just a bookmark, because then you're going to stay, if they read, which people still read, you're going to stay front of mind.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so I thought, oh, I might do bookmarks, and it doesn't have to be like a long one. It could just, you know, you could do what you want, but a bookmark, like, how quaint.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that this was just something that might be helpful to everyone here. Emails that I absolutely love are by the Reconnected. They do breath work. They do run online programs, and it's all breath work. But the way that they relate, so they're talking about parenting. So it's obviously very easy, parent to parent, it's easy to relate. But the way that they tell stories and then link that back to, like you do, Katie, link it back to what they're selling, but then also just like the layout of how they do it. They use their little emojis, and it's broken up really nicely. And I know that they get wild numbers of enrollments.
Yeah, brilliant. Can you share a link with us in the chat, please?
Sure. To the Reconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also the way that they do just an add-on, they always run their, like you did with Edwina, your 3-day or your 5-day live free events. They do the same formula that Katie's been teaching us, and then they go straight into their paid program. And if you sign up to their email newsletter and you do their free paid programs, you'll see how it all unfolds in live time. It's what you do, but it's just like, it's just another example of it, and you're teaching it already. So I think it would be helpful for everyone here to see that.
Brilliant.
Can I just add something to that? Because I am in and have been in the Reconnected for a very long time. And I found it really interesting, Katie, because you gave voice to Jeff Walker and his book and how salesy he is. And I know from being behind the scenes in some of their staff that they are one of Jeff Walker's top students in their capacity to be successful. So I think that what they've done is been able to kind of make it so deeply authentic to who they are that it comes across, like you say, Megan, with their emojis and the way that their emails are written, that the flow is so captivating, and it's almost like they speak directly, you know, to us.
I'm excited to have a look at this. This is
Yeah,
well, there's a formula. It's because I wasn't going to mention that because it would have just taken too long. But as you know, is it Kylie?
Yes, Kylie.
Yeah, Kylie, as Kylie just said, yeah, they use the product launch formula. So their emails do follow, and it's from memory, it's like, you know, show your relatability, you know, hook them with a story, and then show your authority. And there's just like a bit of a formula, but they follow it. And I've been in the behind the scenes with you too, Kylie, in their 90-day bonus. So I've done all of it. And yeah, they do it with authenticity.
Jeff Walker has a whole system around launching and a lot of the stuff we're talking about marketing. And look, I have mixed feelings about Jeff Walker. I've learned a lot from him. He's really interesting, and I very much recommend his book. So his book is called Launch. It's well worth reading. It's a good investment. I think he sometimes tips over into being a little bit unethical and a little bit too pushy. And also, and I don't mean to sound anti-American, it's going to sound anti-American, but America's just a different culture to us, American culture, and they're a lot more pushy, and the general audience in America is more willing to receive that. Whereas I feel like here in Australia and also in the UK where I'm from, if you're that pushy, people get turned off. They just do. It's just a different sales culture. So I feel like you have to be very careful with Jeff Walker's stuff because it's just a bit too much. However, there's a lot in there that's super useful. And if you run it through your own discernment and you maintain integrity, it's really great. So definitely worth reading the book. I probably wouldn't sign up for his course, but I would definitely read the book.
I think the Reconnected is a really good example of how to do it in the way that all of the girls in this group would want to do PLS.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm excited to see how they've done it. And I just want to say that this is a really great way of learning about marketing, is watch the people that you love and learn from them. So, you know, I love Victoria Washington, and I've signed up for a bunch of her paid programs, and I get coaching from her, and she's supported my business a lot. But I can honestly say that I have learned as much from her by watching how she does business as I have by being coached by her. Elena Brower is another person. Kylie, I know you know Elena. Like, Elena has coached me, she's mentored me, she's been in my life for a long time, and I've learned by watching her run her business as well as by her telling me how to run my business, if that makes sense. So yeah, just sign up for and follow and watch how people market. Kelly Deals is another one who I really recommend. I'll put these names in the chat. She's a brilliant marketer, and you just sign up for her stuff and you'll get it. And thank you for saying that, Radha. That's really sweet. Last recommendation I'm going to give today, I think I've already recommended her to you guys before, but Tarzan K is a copywriter. She is a brilliant coach. I did her course. It's called Email Stars a while ago, and it was fantastic. And she has freebies. She has free opt-ins on her website, which will give you templates for writing emails. So if you want help with your welcome sequence and you want some template ideas, go to Tarzan K's website and opt in for her freebies. She's also a brilliant email writer. She sends out weekly emails that are really fantastic. All right, ladies, I'm going to let you go. I'm off to do a photo shoot with Edwina, which is exciting. I'm going to see you next week. So reminder of your homework, welcome sequence, and brainstorming lists of where are your people hanging out? Where are they? And then we can start thinking about how we reach out to them. Have a beautiful day. Take care.
Thank you.